Karens. We can't live with them, but we could definitely live without them. But the question is, would we want to? Think about it. Sure, they're loud, they're obnoxious, they're annoying. However, in all of that and with all of that, they do provide a lot of free entertainment with their whining and bitching and moaning and throwing tantrums in the middle of grocery stores and other shopping locations. It's just brilliant. Free entertainment. Normally, you would have to pay for that kind of entertainment, but the Karens provide it to society for no cost whatsoever, nationwide. If you got a zip code, there's a Karen somewhere near you. In this video, we are taking a look at a particular Karen who did her thing at a Sprouts farmers market not too far from where I live in Arizona. So let's take a look at the video, and I will be intermittently giving commentary on what she says because we will need a little break. We can't just let Karen go on and on and on. So I'll break that up with commentary, which isn't much better, but it's all we've got. So let's just roll with it.
Hi everyone. Sorry about that. I don't know how to do Facebook Lives. I'm just learning. I'm going to give it a couple seconds here for people to know that I'm here and that I'm on, so you can hear what I have to say, what just happened to me.
She wants the maximum amount of people to flock to her to listen to her spiel and her BS and her nonsense. I don't blame her. There's no point in talking if you don't have an audience. If I had 0 views on all my videos, do you think I'd still be doing this? Probably.
I'll let people hop on. I don't really know how to tell if people are here. Is there a way? If there is, then you can say hi.
Hi.
I'm not real sure about that. I'm going to tag my Great 48 people, Great State Alliance. And I believe I tagged other friends and people who I know. So I just want to tell you what just happened to me. I'm sitting in the parking lot of Sprouts at 67th Avenue and Deer Valley. I think I said 75th on the title. I apologize. I'll change it. 67th and Deer Valley. This is my local Sprouts that I have been to hundreds of times since they opened. I've probably spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars at this Sprouts.
Wow, you've spent thousands and thousands of dollars at this Sprouts. You know what she's pretty much trying to do right there is, I've spent a lot of money at this location, therefore I am entitled. Well, you're not, Karen, okay? Here's how it works. You go into Sprouts, you give them money, and they give you stuff in return. You hear a lot of this nonsense from a lot of shoppers, consumers, and customers, especially when it comes to mobile service. They'll get pissed off at T-Mobile or Verizon or whatever, and they will say, I have been a customer for 15 years, and I demand yada, yada, yada. Well, that's not how it works. You pay them, and they give you service in return. And just because a lot of time has elapsed doesn't make you special. It doesn't matter how much money you've spent there. It doesn't matter how long you've been to that location or how long you've used somebody's service. It doesn't make you special, and it certainly doesn't entitle you to anything.
So I'm just going to tell you what happened.
Yes, tell me what happened.
I am a mom.
A mom? Wow! She says that I'm a mom like that has any sort of weight or bearing on anything. Having sex with somebody and getting pregnant and loosing a gargoyle from your loins, again, doesn't make you special. Practically every woman could do that.
I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Ooh, she's a stay-at-home mom. That's not a regular mom. That's a stay-at-home mom. That's the extra special kind of mom. You'd have to be a stay-at-home mom in order to be a Karen. In fact, I don't think that there's any Karens out there that have a full-time career. Maybe part-time job at best, but stay-at-home moms, well, probably make up the most percentage of Karens because they have nothing to do all day except chase their kids around and beat them with a broom.
That is my job. I came to Sprouts to pick up some hamburger meat and hamburger buns for some hamburgers we were going to have tonight. I started to walk in. A young lady at the front, she's just doing her job, said, "Ma'am, do you have a mask?" I said, "No, I do not." And she said, "Do you want one?" I said, "No, thank you." And I started to walk into Sprouts, and she said, "I'm sorry, you can't go in." I said, "Actually, I have an exemption."
Doubt it.
So I can. She said, no, you can't. And she tried to show me this piece of paper. I said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to wear a mask, and I need to go into Sprouts." So she said, "Well, I'm going to have to get my manager." I said, "Okay." So I was prepared because unfortunately this is what's going on right now, and I won't wear a mask. I do have an exemption.
Does she have an exemption? Or does she not? I would bet no.
And in the orders or mandates, whatever that our cities are putting together, there are exemptions. It's very clear in the if you look it up. So at Great State Alliance, we have created some great cards.
Wow, you created your own cards? Gee golly, that's super.
And look, my hand is shaking.
So is mine.
I'm just a normal person.
Sorry, honey. I don't think you're a normal person, because normal people don't find their way into conflict and then make a video about it complaining that something didn't go their way.
A law-abiding citizen of the United States of America. I don't get the police called on me.
Well, that's about to change.
This is not something that happens to me.
It will today.
I pay my taxes.
Wait a minute. You pay your taxes? You just said you're a stay-at-home mom. So what taxes are you paying exactly?
I live peacefully.
Really, walking into a store and creating conflict isn't exactly living peacefully.
I'm a good, normal citizen. This should not have happened, what just happened. So the strategy, what we're trying to do with these mandates that are not legal and are not legally binding, is we're trying to educate people.
Holy shit, they're trying to educate people? She's trying to educate people on what? How to be a Karen? Nobody needs to know that. That's not the kind of things we should be teaching people.
So that's the first step, and that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to talk to the manager. I wanted to talk to the manager. I wanted to talk to the manager.
I wanted to talk to the manager.
I wanted to explain I have an exemption, so I am allowed, per the law, to come in and do my shopping. It wasn't allowed.
I know what that's like, Karen. Not being allowed to do something you want to do. This one time I wanted to go shopping at Best Buy without any pants, and they said no.
And so the manager came, and he would not speak to me. He spoke to me. Let me
He would not speak to me. He spoke to me. Which one is it, Karen?
back up. He spoke to me, but he did not want to hear what I had to say. I said,
I don't blame him. I don't even want to hear what you have to say, but I have to in order to make this video.
"I'm sorry." I kind of read. I said, per the law, I have an exemption, and so I am allowed to come in here and shop. And he said, no, you're not. No, you're not. You can't come in. And I said, okay, well, the next step is I need to document what's happening to me. So I said, I'm going to turn on my phone so I can video
Where the hell's that video?
what's happening. And he ran.
Now, when you say he ran, did he just casually walk away, or did he like full on sprint away? Because honestly, if he like full on, like you're like, I'm going to record this, and he just booked it that way, that would be pretty hilarious. And if you got that on video, Karen, if you ever watch this video, send me that video, please.
And so I said, okay. And he came back for a second, and I said, do I need to call the police? He said, I'm calling the police. I said, okay. And I was calm, which, if you know me, is kind of hard to do.
If you know me, that's hard to do, because I'm usually crazy and bitching and moaning about something.
So I was calm. I was shaking because I don't have the police called on me.
Well, that's not true anymore.
I'm a mom.
You're a mom. That doesn't exempt you from having cops called on you, and again, does not make you special.
So the police came. The officer who came first was a woman, and she said, what's the problem? I explained. I said, per, the law, I have an exemption. I can come in and shop. And she didn't know what to do.
She may have not known what to do, but be grateful that she didn't draw her sidearm and start blasting as the police typically do.
So she left. She said, I have to go make a phone call. She left. She went out to her car. And while she was gone, 2 other officers showed up. So here I am, a mom.
A mom! 3 cops! Wow! What does any of this have to do with you being a mom? It doesn't mean you're an angel. It doesn't mean you're a good person. Susan Smith was also a mom, and we all know what happened with her kids. And if you don't know, Google Susan Smith kids, and you'll find out what kind of mom she was.
3 police officers. 3.
1, 2, 3. Hey!
Called on me at Sprouts. She came back and she said, I talked to my superior, whoever that is, and they said that this store has the right to refuse service to anyone. And I said, no, that's not the law. I said, I have an exemption, and per the code of Glendale, I can come in and shop.
Actually, it is. A store can refuse service to anybody for any reason, as long as it's not against a protected group, which means minorities, LGBTQ community, things of that nature. You are not a protected community or person. You simply don't want to wear a mask, which is fine.
She said, no, you can't, and that's the law. I said, no, it's not. You are incorrect. I said, you need to study the law. That is not the law.
She has a point. Police do need to study the law because they don't know it very well, I have noticed.
And she said, well, you're going to have to leave. And at that point, another gentleman was coming in. He's great 48. Like, wow, somebody who understood me.
Wow, another moron from my group that understands how big of a moron I am because he's just as big of a moron. Yay!
He came in and he was trying to enter without a mask, and he saw the police. He said, are you saying I can't come in? And they were like, yes. He's like, what if you don't know my disability?
Willful intellectual disabilities do not count.
You have no idea. I have an exemption. I said, no, they can refuse service. So he was very kind. He was calm. He did nothing disrespectful to the officers or to the store, but he was upset.
Did he cry?
And so at that point, I got the name of all the officers and their badge numbers, and I needed to get the manager's information, and the police said, no, we don't have to go get him. He doesn't want to talk to you. So at this point, the next step that we have to take to go and grocery shopping on a Friday afternoon to go grab some hamburger buns is we have to litigate.
Litigate? Litigate against what? A company refusing service to somebody because they're not following their policies? Go ahead and litigate that, and guess what? You're not even going to make it to trial because it's going to get thrown out before it ever gets to that point. And I do like how she shows her little card like, I got these. I'll just show this bad boy to the judge and he's going to be like, puh, case closed. I award you $500 billion. Or he might tell you to take that card and shove it up your...
This is crazy. So I'm assuming their corporate offices are closed over the weekend. So on Monday, I will be filing a formal complaint with Sprouts headquarters.
Who do you think sets these policies? Sprouts headquarters, the people at the top. She seems to think that individual stores just make up whatever rules they want and do as they please. No, these rules and policies get handed down from the corporate office, so good luck filing a complaint with them, complaining about something they themselves enacted.
We have legal advice. We have a legal team.
They got a legal team. You better be scared, Sprouts. They're coming for you.
To help with this. And so I as a private citizen, I'm learning all of this. I don't understand exactly how we got to this place, and I don't exactly understand the law exactly.
You don't exactly understand the law. She said it herself. The most intelligent thing she has said to this point, and it's probably going to be the only intelligent thing she says for the duration of this entire video. She doesn't understand the law, and that's glaringly obvious.
But I do know.
No, you don't.
That if I have an exemption, they, per the law, have to let me in a store to shop for food.
What exemption? You keep saying you have an exemption, but you have yet to specify what this exemption is, which makes me think that you just pulled this out of your ass. You found that word somewhere online and you're like, hey, I'm going to say I have an exemption, and magic.
So I'm going to be pursuing this per the law.
You pursue it, Karen. You pursue it to the ends of the earth.
Great. If anyone follows Peggy Hall, hi Peggy.
Hi Peggy.
She has been an inspiration to me out of California, and she says take the emotion out of it.
Well, you're definitely not taking the emotion out of it, considering that your hands are shaking. You seem like you're on the verge of crying at several points. That is definitely not taking the emotion out of it, and I think Peggy Hall out of California would be very disappointed in you.
Just follow the law. Follow the law to where it leads. And so that's what I'm going to do. As a private citizen who was escorted by 3 heavily armed police officers.
3 heavily armed police officers. Oh, I'm sure they were heavily armed with RPGs and fully automatic weapons and Stinger missiles and all sorts of crazy things.
It's going to make me cry a little bit because...
Cry a little bit? You're supposed to take the emotion out of it, just like Peggy Hall said. Listen to Peggy Hall, damn it.
I'm not sure where I live right now.
Damn, she is so distressed, she's starting to lose her memory. That's crazy.
I was escorted out of the grocery store for trying to get food for my son tonight.
No, you were not escorted out because you were trying to get food for your son. You were escorted out because the company has a policy that everybody that comes inside has to wear a mask. You refused because reasons, and that's why you were escorted out by 3 heavily armed police officers.
The manager would barely speak to me.
Do you blame him? Who would want to speak to you? Except maybe Peggy Hall.
He wasn't out and out rude, but he wasn't nice. He wasn't kind. He didn't try to talk to a customer who has spent thousands and thousands of dollars at his store. That didn't happen.
Because he has to deal with probably 20 people just like you every day, and he no longer has the patience to do so. You don't want to follow the policy? That's fine, turn around and go home. He doesn't want to deal with this. He doesn't want to deal with that stuff all day. He's just going to turn around and go and call the police. He doesn't have to sit there and listen to a single thing that's going to spew out of your mouth. Spending money at the store doesn't give you special rights. It doesn't give you special privileges. It doesn't do anything for you. It's meaningless. You spend your money there and they give you stuff. We've already went over this, Karen.
And so that's what's going to happen next. And I did take a couple notes because I wanted to make sure that I got everything. But I was discriminated against.
That was not discrimination. You were not discriminated against. You have no idea what the word discrimination means. You have no inkling or concept of what true, genuine discrimination is. As a typical, boring, dumbed-down suburban white mom, you think discrimination is anytime you don't get your way, much like this example we are watching right now.
For my exemption. So it's now discrimination.
What exemption? You haven't even specified an exemption. The little card that you have that says you have an exemption, it doesn't mean anything. Believe me, Karen, I've tried these things myself before to make myself my own exemption cards that exempt me from things, such as this one that I made for the IRS that exempts me from having to pay taxes. Didn't work. They still showed up, they wanted their money, and I had to pay. But I also made myself another exemption card that I tried to use. This one was for the police whenever I got pulled over. And again, it did not work. Granted, your exception cards do look a little bit more professional than mine. Mine are just handwritten on pieces of paper while yours are nice and printed out. But again, all the same, it doesn't mean anything.
I'm very disappointed, and I wanted to share. I'm just a normal person.
You are not a normal person. What you are is a spoiled, entitled suburban brat.
Just like all of you. And if we don't start taking this back, I don't know where we'll be living in 6 months, a year from now.
Taking what back? There's nothing to take back. You don't own Sprouts. You have nothing to take back. You don't own anything. You don't own the right to do as you please in a private business.
This has to stop.
Yes, it does have to stop, and it has to start with you.
I'm a perfectly healthy person.
Hold up. She said she has exemptions from having to wear a mask, but then she just said she's a perfectly healthy person. So if you're a perfectly healthy person, what exemptions could you possibly have?
I mean, do your research about masks, whatever. Wear a mask. I don't care.
Whenever you're dealing with a person that has no idea what they're talking about, they will always drop the line, do your research. 10 times out of 10, if somebody doesn't know what they're talking about, they just read some nonsense somewhere online, they will at some point in a conversation tell you to do your research.
But I don't. That's my choice. And it should be pretty obvious that as a citizen of the United States, that is my choice. I have the choice to not wear a mask.
Yes, you have a choice not to wear a mask. You don't have to wear one. But you have to understand, Karen, Sprouts Farmers Market also has the choice to not allow people without a mask in their private business. Just as you say you're a private citizen, they are a private business. They aren't forcing you to wear a mask. You don't understand what the word discrimination means. You don't know what the word force means. Nobody is forcing you. If you walked into Sprouts and you got tackled by some 5'4" cashier and she tried strapping one on your face, that is force.
Anywhere. I can't breathe. Makes me claustrophobic. And there's legitimate reasons that I don't have to share.
Of course you don't have to share, but we also know that there are no legitimate reasons because you stated that you're a perfectly healthy person, so there's no reason you'd have any exemptions. And the fact that you don't want to mention any, because if you really had some, you'd be blasting that all in this video.
Legitimate exemptions that I do not have to share with anyone. Otherwise, it's a violation of my civil rights. So I just wanted to share what happened to me at the Sprouts on 67th Avenue and Deer Valley.
Sprouts Farmers Market on 67th and Deer Valley, job well done.
To a normal, law-abiding, tax-paying...
You're a stay-at-home mom. You do not pay taxes. Shut up.
...citizen. Thank y'all for listening.
And thank you, Karen, for giving me this material to make this video.
I hope you share.
Oh, I'm definitely going to share.
And spread this far and wide because we have to get our country back under control.
By get the country back under control, what she means is that I should be allowed to do anything I want, anywhere, at any time, because I am a private citizen, taxpayer, not really, blah, 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 blah.
And we have to reclaim our freedoms.
What freedoms have you been stripped of? The U.S. Constitution doesn't grant you the freedom to shop inside of a store without a mask because the U.S. Constitution doesn't oversee what a private business chooses to do or not. I mean, granted, our freedoms have been stripped over the past few decades, but I don't see you complaining about any of those because you probably supported a lot of those policies that did just that.
It is my freedom to breathe. It's my freedom to not cover up my face. I see that I'm the only person here not wearing a mask, and that does blow my mind. It really does, and it makes me very sad.
You make me very sad, and I'm sure you make a whole lot of people very sad, and it has nothing to do with the fact that you don't want to wear a mask. It's your lack of any sort of intellect.
That others are going along with this. feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to Great State Alliance, Great 48. We've made a lot of progress within our group, but we need all of us. We need every last one of us.
Great 48 powers activate!
Who believes the way we do in freedom and liberty.
You obviously don't believe in freedom because you don't believe that Sprouts Farmers Market should have the freedom to refuse service to somebody who's not abiding by their policies. Once again, when you talk about freedom, what you actually mean is I should be allowed to do whatever I please, whenever I want, anywhere I want.
And patriots. So thank you for listening, and I just pray that you have a great night. I'm going home. I'm going to be with my family.
Go home, be with your family, and never come out of your house again. Please leave those poor people at Sprouts Farmers Market alone.
And I'm going to know that I didn't do anything wrong today.
No, you didn't do anything wrong, but you created conflict and now you're on the verge of crying about it for what you did to yourself, as most Karens do. They create conflict, they get blowback, and then they cry about it.
But I was still escorted out of the grocery store by the police, the Glendale police.
Yes, you were, and there's a very good reason for that because you did not want to abide by their store policy. We see people like this all the time complaining that their rights are being violated. They are not. They just display the fact that they don't understand their rights and what their rights mean. You have a right to not wear a mask. But if a business refuses service to you because you don't have a mask on, that is not a violation of your rights. These are the same people that complain about freedom of speech all the time. Let's say there's a guy named Bob, right? And Bob goes on Twitter and he makes a huge rant that's racist and bigoted and all sorts of things. Now, I don't agree with cancel culture, right? Not at all. But people screenshot what Bob said, and they also find out that Bob works at Company A. And they send that screenshot to Company A, and Bob ends up getting fired. And then there's a news article about it, and always in that news article, in the comment section, you will see people saying, "Whatever happened to free speech?" Bob's free speech was not violated. He got to say whatever he wanted to say. However, freedom of speech doesn't mean that you have the freedom from consequences. You have the freedom to say as you please, but sometimes it's going to blow up in your face. Having the freedom to say what you please doesn't exempt you from consequences. It is not a violation of your constitutional rights. And a business asking you to wear a mask is also definitely not a violation of your rights. Her and people like her need to understand and get learned about what rights are and how they work. If the police forced you to wear a mask, that would be a violation of your constitutional rights. But that's not what happened. Nobody forced you to do anything. You simply didn't want to abide by their store policies, so they asked you to leave. Just be grateful that those cops didn't show up and shoot you. Because if I was one of those cops, I probably would have.
So, thanks, guys.
No, Karen. Thank you. You are a true patriot and a true hero. One day, if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to build a statue of you. And it's going to have a mask on it.